Hello and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Marvelous Marva, and today is March the 2nd, 2023. We are 2 days into March, and today I am feeling the feelings. So, the title of today's episode is How to Not Be Afraid of Your Feelings. So I wanted to talk about this today because I went on a walk earlier, and as I was walking, I noticed that different things were coming up for me. First thing that happened was I went for this walk with no headphones. Something just told me, today you don't feel like listening to music, and either I listen to music when I go for my walks or my jogs, or I'll put on like YouTube. On YouTube, I listen to Joseph Rodriguez or Anna Brown, people like that while I'm going on my walk, or sometimes I'll even listen to an audiobook. I've just recently finished Atomic Habits, and so that's done. I'm now looking for a new audiobook to listen to. But when I was leaving today, something was like, I don't really feel like listening to anything. I'm gonna just leave my headphones here and just go. And then another part of me was like, also, we're not gonna run today. We're just gonna walk. So I left. I went for my walk. As I was walking, things were coming up for me. I made an episode a few weeks back about quitting weed and quitting substances, period. And today, for some odd reason, honestly, maybe for like the past week, it's just been coming into my awareness that I want to smoke again. It's weird. I'm almost to a year. Next month, April the 11th, I will make 1 year weed free. And I'm holding myself to that. I'm holding myself accountable because I want to do that. When I was quitting smoking cigarettes, I held myself accountable and I was able to do so. So as I was walking, it was popping in my head. I was feeling the feelings, and I was just like, I started talking out loud to myself, and I was like, this is so weird, you know? Why are we feeling like we need to smoke weed? And I responded back to myself that it's okay that we feel like this. It's all right. It's understandable. And then it was like I had a whole conversation with myself. I don't know if other people do this, but this is how I've been learning how to deal with things when they come up, is to shine light on them, talk about them, give myself the space to vocalize what it is that's going on, so that way it doesn't just hide in the shadows. So I brought up an example to myself, and I was like, when you were really trying hard to quit smoking cigarettes, and now that you've been smoke-free from cigarettes for years now, like I'm sure it's well over 6 or 7 years. I can't even tell you how long it's been because I stopped counting. But I reminded myself that there's no parts of me that wants to go out there and buy a pack of cigarettes or bum a smoke from someone or just have a cigarette, period. And there's also no parts of me that's afraid to be around people that smoke cigarettes, to be in areas where there's cigarette smoke. There's no parts of me that's concerned about that. So I congratulated myself and I said, see, you accomplished that. And you understand the reasons why you don't want to go back there. There's no parts of you that actually wants to go back there because there's no benefit. There's nothing that you need to cover up. There's no holes that you need to fill by smoking a cigarette. When you think about it and you think about the reasons why you used to do it, it was for stress, for anxiety, because someone was bothering you, because you need to get through this moment that you were in. But now you don't need that, and you understand that you don't need that, and And that is growth for sure. So then after I had that conversation, and I was like, now when it comes to weed, there are parts of me that do still want to smoke it. And because I know and I can feel and I can feel the there's like a pressure that comes up inside of me, and I can feel it. It feels physical. And it's just like, it would be nice to. But then I go back to thinking about what it feels like after I've smoked. And so the conversation I had as I was walking today was, so after you smoke, then you wait for it to process through your system, for yourself to get back sober again, or back unhigh. Because when you smoke weed, you get high, you get a buzz, you feel feelings, it happens physically. And then you wait for your body to calm back down and go back to its normal state of not being high or elevated on a substance. And so then I asked myself, after you wait for your body to come back to not being high, then what? And guess what myself said? It was like, then you're going to want to smoke again to bring that high feeling back. And thus creates the cycle of wanting to continuously think about smoking weed, and all of the progress that you've made will be just kind of like starting over again, because deep down inside you know that if it's something that you're thinking about so intently and you already feel like you won't be able to stop once you start again, then clearly it's showing you that there is potentially a reason why you shouldn't do it. So I was like, yeah, I'm right. I shouldn't do it. Not like I have it around. And then I was so grateful for where I live now. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, this must be what it feels like to be in a rehab facility, because you pull yourself from the environment where you came from and you put yourself in an environment where all of the easy access to the things that you thought you needed to cope are no longer there. When I lived in Houston, I always knew how to find weed. It was so easy. No matter where I moved to, I always knew how to find it. I always manifested it. It always showed back up in my reality. Now that I live in Galveston, sure, it's around. I've been around people that have smoked around me. During those times, I was able to, just look at it. I felt the feelings come up inside of me. I felt my body tense up. I felt all the feelings, but I was able to just let it go. Like something stopped me. So I guess now it's like me being in like a therapy or rehab, being out here and not having it. And I can honestly say I made it through those cravings today. I don't have access to it, so it's not like I came home and was like, okay, I gotta find some. No. I still kept walking. After I had all of that processing, I still kept walking, and I ended up walking to the nearby park, and there's a song that's been playing in my head since last night, like all through my dreams. It was like the background song to my dreams all through the night, and it was in my head all morning. It's a song called Welcome Change by ᝰ.𝓒𝓏. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I think the first name is pronounced Phum. It's Phum. It's probably not an artist that most people know. I used to listen to him back in the day. He had a few other songs that I really liked. He has a really nice voice. And so recently he popped back up in my awareness with this song. It was just, I was listening through YouTube music, and it was just the next song that came up, and I was like, this voice sounds familiar. And then I looked at the artist, and that was him. The song's called Welcome Change. And in the song, he says, "You've got to be brave and welcome change." And so as I was walking, there were some bleachers. I decided to sit down today at those bleachers. The wind was blowing hard. The birds were all around. I sat there and I sat, and I was just quiet. I wasn't thinking about anything. My mind was totally clear, but I could hear that song still playing in my head. Then I saw a little patch of grass, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ground myself. I'm just gonna put my feet in the grass. I took my shoes off. I put my feet in the grass, and all of a sudden, the song got louder in my head. It got so loud, and it was just that part. You've got to be brave and welcome change. And I decided to play the song because it was so loud. I played the song, and guess what happened? I started crying. The feelings just poured out. It was like the emotions. I needed to express the emotion. They needed to come through me so that I could let it go. Sometimes if we have emotions and we don't express them, they just stay inside, and they kind of loop, and every thought that you have goes back to the feeling. I was able to cry. I had my sunglasses on. There was only a few people at the park. Someone was cutting the grass, and a couple was across the way walking. And I had the song playing, and I just let the tears pour down. The wind was blowing, and I thank the universe for holding me so tight, letting me know that everything's okay, that it is time for me to continue to welcome change, to be brave. You never know what's on the other side of change. For years, I thought that I would be a person that would never quit substances. I would never quit smoking cigarettes. I would never quit drinking. I would never quit weed. I would never quit odd drugs. I've done so many things, as we all have. We're here experiencing life, so curiosity leads us all kinds of places. But then also for years, I cried about quitting all of those things. I cried about just having the experience of just being here and being okay with that. I cried about welcoming change. Change is scary. Change is good. It does take bravery to welcome change, to welcome something that feels unfamiliar, to welcome yourself not going backwards and continuing to move forward, putting one foot in front of the other. Going backwards, you already know what that feels like. But going forward, you never know what's going to happen. Leaving behind the old and starting the new, it sparks all kinds of curiosities. Life can be 1000% better than it ever was. And yeah, I can definitely say that with wholehearted honesty. Just looking at my life here in the past year, I've been in Galveston for a year now, a little over a year and a few days. And a year ago, my life was completely different. Now, I have a love for myself. I'm growing to understand myself more and more every day. My boundaries make sense now. Before, I didn't have any of those things. Before, I was doing all kinds of things that I didn't want to do just to make sure that I was pleasing everyone else because I didn't want to be just like left alone. And now I feel more intact with myself to where I can say no and it's okay. And I can revel in the idea of just being with myself. I can also revel in the idea of spending some time, quality time with others, with my family, with the few friends that I have, that I've made. I've opened my heart and allowed myself to make new friends. And that feels amazing because for a moment there, I thought I was done with making friends. I was like, friends hurt. Like when things don't work out, it hurts. But that takes bravery as well to open your heart back up after you feel like you've been traumatized behind people. I love people, don't get me wrong. But after going through what I had gone through, it did just kind of make me want to just close off. One thing I do want to add, I follow astrology, I follow human design, I follow gene keys, I follow the personal year. For personal year, what year I'm in right now is personal year number 2. Last year I was in personal year number 1. And I didn't even know about personal year until last year. It popped in my awareness. Whenever it's time for something new to pop up, it pops up and I learn about it and I get a better understanding of myself. So there's so many layers to our existence. But I learned about personal year and it brought awareness to why I felt the need to be alone and to go so deep within myself and to isolate for long periods of time. I was able to change jobs multiple times, which I hadn't done in well over 12 years. I'd always been scared of changing jobs. I was a person that stuck with one job for a long time, stuck with one relationship for a long time. I didn't like to make a lot of changes or ripples. And I was able to face that fear coming out here, shaking my life up, letting go of everything. Personal year 2, which I'm in right now, is about having friends and collaborating with other people, finding balance in things, finding balance in myself, opening my heart more to family, to having more patience and going slower. Because last year I was kind of moving fast. I was by myself and I was accomplishing so many things. Like I didn't realize that I could have 3 jobs in 1 year. Like, what? Old me, past me would have been like, you are unstable. That is not stability. I'm an Aries sun, Taurus ascendant, Gemini moon. So the Taurus in me loves stability. She loves things that are stable and she loves to just plant her feet and not move. Tauruses are bulls, like the animal, a bull. And they like to stay planted and grounded. And so to pull myself out of all of that was definitely a shock to me, shock to my system. I understand it better now, though, with all of the components. with all of those layers that I've learned so far about myself. I'm sure there's still more layers. But I'm glad that through it all, I have been brave, as brave as I can be in each moment, and allowed the changes to happen. Once I get through one moment of feeling a weakness like I did today for wanting to smoke weed again, then the next moment comes. As long as you express your emotions, then you can move on to the next. Sometimes when emotions come up, they can feel like you're not breathing. And if you are having an emotion or a feeling or something is triggering you and you notice yourself not breathing for a second, take a deep breath. Breathe. Allow yourself to feel what it is that you're feeling. Remind yourself that it's okay. This is what we're here for. This is part of what we're here for, is to feel all of the feelings. At least that's what I think. In this moment, things are always changing. We honestly don't know what we're doing here. But taking it one moment at a time and knowing that we're not alone, that there is some form of higher power out there, some form of our higher self or higher version, something out there is making sure that things are always working out for us. Those are some affirmations that I like to say. Things are always working out for me. Oh, another person that I listen to is Abraham Hicks, also known as Esther Hicks. I love how she channels. And Louise Hay. I like Louise Hay. I love everything about Louise Hay. She created a book. She made a book a long time ago. She's no longer with us, but she made a book that, in my opinion, can almost be better than a physician's desk, a PDR. I think it's called Physician's Desk Resource, or I don't know what the R stands for. But there's a section of her book, it's called You Can Heal Your Life, where she lists all the symptoms that you are going through. So say, for instance, you have a headache. Then normally that would point to invalidating yourself. And you can think in your mind, if a headache comes in, where am I invalidating myself? Or if you have back issues, if you have lower back pain, then there's some part of you that's not feeling support. If you have skin issues, there's some part of you that's not loving yourself enough. You feel like there's something about you that you don't love. And then she has affirmations in there. And the affirmations kind of work with your subconscious, and it helps to reprogram you. Parts of me also feels like we are, we're in our human bodies, but our human bodies are smarter than we think that they are. And they are talking to us. Our bodies are talking to us. For instance, if you go too hard and you start working like nonstop and just like doing the most, and you won't just calm down and relax, your body is going to find a way to make you stop so that you can take a moment to calm down and relax, whether that's giving you a cold or making you trip and fall. Like it's all connected. Everything is connected. So all of the things that I think, take them with a grain of salt. Everyone's having their own experience, so everyone is processing information how they want to. But for me, I found it valuable to think like this. It helps me to make sense of the world around me and to keep going without wanting to exit this beautiful thing called life. So yeah, I just wanted to make today's podcast about allowing yourself to feel your feelings, to not be afraid of your feelings, to give your feelings a platform so that you can express them. Feelings just want to be heard. They just want you to bring them up to the surface so you can let them out, and then you can move on to the next moment. If you've ever seen a toddler get upset about something and go into a crying frenzy, and then 5 minutes later that toddler is okay, that's what our feelings want us to do. They want us to cry it out, let it out, work it out. Of course, if you're, in public or at work or amongst people, you do want to have some discretion. I'm not going to say, to wail and scream and kick in front of people, but allow yourself, room to process your emotions. Because once you've processed whatever emotion's coming up for you, whether it be fear, anger, disgust, sadness, whatever it is, once you let it out, then the next moment happens and you can move on. And then you can smile and be proud of yourself for allowing yourself to feel. The greatest thing about being here is being able to feel. I feel like when we're not here anymore, when we leave our physical bodies, maybe we won't be able to feel these feelings, and maybe we might miss them. So while we have them, I think that it's good to feel them no matter how scary they feel, because it just opens up a whole new world of new experiences, new understanding of ourselves, and allows us to be even more of who we naturally are without trying to cover it up with substances or addictions, things that possibly we know are not serving us. So, with that being said, I am going to end today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here for yourself, being here for all of us. Together, we're all doing it. All of us are creating this world. And I think we're doing an okay job. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to come back. I record every week. I also have a blog, ◰𝓒𝓏designs.com. And I also upload these podcasts to YouTube, where I have other random videos. Right now I just have one video up that I posted of me camping. That's the only random video of me camping last year, or the year before last year, I think. Yeah. So I love you guys so much. And until next episode, stay well, stay happy, allow yourself to feel, and have a wonderful day, morning, evening, wherever you are. I love you.